Welcome to our weekly program, The Inside Story of Chabad in America through the Mindel Archives. This is the third or fourth program about the trip, the shlichus that the Rebbe sent Rabbi Mindel to Russia to bring manuscripts from the Frierdiker Rebbe. Now, throughout the years, the Rebbe sent him to different places. He was sent towards Israel many times. The Rebbe sent him to Prince Tanya, Cairo, Suez Canal. The Rebbe sent him to see Shazar. He was close with Shazar, the president of Israel. And the Rebbe sent him one time in the 50s to Prime Minister Ben Gurion. I remember he was telling us that the Rebbe said, I think it was about Mihu Yehudi, to speak to him about Mihu Yehudi. This was in the early 50s even. So he says, Ben Gurion told him, he really liked Rabbi Mindel. He sees how smart he is. He says, if you're like that, I can imagine what the Rebbe is. So in conversation, Rabbi Mindel mentioned he knew Hebrew very well, like poetic Hebrew. So he mentioned something from the Siddur. So Ben Gurion said, it's such a beautiful, what you said, beautiful. So he says, what do you mean? It's a saying from the Siddur. So he tells Rabbi Mindel, you see the whole wall full of books from ceiling to the floor. Not one Siddur here. I never held a Siddur. That's what he told him. So maybe, I don't know, I hope maybe from then on he went to buy a Siddur. I don't know. But this is as a Maimer HaMuzgir. So he sent him to Israel many times. Also he went to Morocco with Rabbi Binyamin Garadetsky. This is a program by itself. Everything is written. He sent him to Africa. There was a Rabbi Bernhard, I think. So he sent Rabbi Mindel for shlichus to see him. In France, England, Belgium, Argentina, Germany, and also the Frierdiker Rebbe. Excuse me, let me. So he sent him to the Frierdiker Rebbe in 1942 when he went to Chicago. Bikur Chicago. So he asked Rabbi Mindel, can he come with him? So he went with him, and he's the one I think that told the Frierdiker Rebbe, being in Chicago, that the Rebbetzin Shtedesora passed away. So they took a train back. That's another program which is not for now. But he went to many shlichus of the Rebbe that the Rebbe sent him. But today I want to share with you a shlichus, a continuation from last week. Last week we said a story of the first time that he went to Russia. This is the second time that the Rebbe sent him to Russia. This was in 1961. As we spoke last week, this was under the communist regime, very dangerous time. Nobody was supposed to know that he is a shliach of the Rebbe. The Rebbe sent him to bring back manuscripts of the Frierdiker Rebbe. Now, he had two sisters in Riga. So he asked the Rebbe, if he's going to the shlichus, his family wants to go with him to see the sisters. His family means my shviger, his wife, and also he had two brothers. One was in Argentina, one was from Eretz Yisrael, with their family. Can they come? So the Rebbe was very happy. The Rebbe even gave him money for I have the money that the Rebbe gave them, the dollars. It wasn't dollars, it was Israeli shkolim. Anyways, so he took him with him. And they went to the sister, and he went to do his shlichus. It wasn't easy to get manuscripts. He found out where it is, and he got a suitcase of the manuscripts. Bekitzer, they stayed there a few days. I think it was a week or 12 days. Time to go home. Go back to New York. Now, those days, this danger, they went by train to the airport. But they had to change trains. So the rule there was, if you change a train, you get off on a station. It's called a vokzal, he says. I remember saying vokzal means a station. So they had to take out their belongings, all the suitcases, and there was a guard standing when they went off the train. Guard standing, 2 guards, and they were checking. They have to open up the suitcase and check. They spot check. They didn't check every suitcase, but they spot check. That's how they did. That's how the rule. Then they go to another train till they got to the airport. Can you imagine how Rabbi Mindel felt? One suitcase was the manuscripts of the Frierdiker Rebbe. And if they would, God forbid, open that suitcase, I can't even say what would happen. He would not be in New York. Especially he was born in Russia. That's besides the point. Sakonis nefashis mamish. He said Shema Yisrael. I mean, it was a sakon. The whole family, when they all went out, they had maybe 9-10 suitcases. They had to line them up at the station. And the guard said to his brother, he pointed to him, "Come here, open the first suitcase." He made like this they made. So he opened the suitcase. So the guard, he bent down and he looked, mamish, he took everything out. He looked at thorough, he looked and he put everything back, close it, fine. Then he said to him, he didn't open the third suitcase. He skipped the second one. The third suitcase also opened, bent down, took everything out, made a thorough investigation. Mamish. They had clothes there, shoes. Then he went to another, so he skipped whatever, back for. Then he was pointing to the suitcase that there was the manuscripts. Unbelievable. Can you imagine Rabbi Mindel standing there and he is picking up his finger? That second, remember telling us, picked up the finger, that second, the guard that was in the back tapped him on his shoulder. He looked back and he told him for a half a minute, maybe something. So his finger moved to the other suitcase. If he wouldn't have tapped him, because he pointed to that suitcase. So he missed that. He skipped that suitcase and he went to the other suitcase. Rabbi Mindel said this was the biggest miracle in his lifetime. This is called Ashlichas for them. He said Shema Yisrael already. I mean, they were all standing. He was shaking, but by tapping him, he missed that thing. Anyways, Bekitzer, they came to New York, he came to the Rebbe, and he told the Rebbe this story. Now, one more thing I forgot to say. Before he left to Russia, the Rebbe told him not to wear a yarmulke. He should put on a beret, not a yarmulke. And the Rebbe explained to him, because what in Russia, what the KGB, when they see a tourist, the first thing they ask him, take off your hat. They'll see right away usually a religious person has a yarmulke. So if they have a yarmulke, they'll right away know who he is. So and it did happen that he was walking on the street in the middle, and they stopped him and they asked, take off your yarmulke. But that's a thing I forgot to tell you before. Anyways, came back to the Rebbe, and he told the Rebbe the whole story, and he told the Rebbe about the yarmulke, that he thanks the Rebbe, that the Rebbe told him to take off the yarmulke. So he was excited. The Rebbe wasn't excited. The Rebbe says, "Amoifis fun schwer." In other words, why are you excited? It's a miracle, the shverch. Here we see that when you go in the shlichus from the Rebbe, the Eibishter helps you. So this is another story of one of his trips. In Mitzvah Hashem, next week, we will continue the next trip, the program of next trip. Thank you.